To start with, I would like everyone to know that I'm the type of person who would look for rational explanations on everything. Not that I'm a skeptic or anything, but as someone who has 2 degrees under his belt, not bragging. Just making a point. I believe finding answers as to why things happen the way they do is all part of being rational and scientific. If I were skeptical, I wouldn't be on this site sharing my stories, would I? I work somewhere in the Middle East. Currently, the kingdom where I am in is in the depths of a recession. We don't have much projects as of now, so we are left with little to do. Boredom strikes me often, and fortunately, I chanced upon this site while searching for some things related to horror stories. Being a fan of horror myself, I find it entertaining to read stories of such. What I find peculiar, and even funny, is that some stories here do not differ much from the things I experienced myself. Having read tales from different people in the past weeks made me decide to share my own experiences, starting with this incident from my childhood. I can't quite remember when did this happen exactly. If my memory serves me right, I think this happened sometime in the late 90s. My siblings and I grew up in a town in the province of Nueva Vizcaya, the Philippines. It isn't like most towns in the Philippines because it is urbanized to some extent. We have huge establishments back in my hometown, but that doesn't change the fact that the province is still largely rural. Having said that, stories of superstitions and the like are still unquestionably existing. Gadgets weren't as prolific as they are now, so we had to rely on outdoor activities during daytime and watch TV at night to keep ourselves entertained. Meaning, our television back then was abused to the point that the remote control gave up on us. This particular night was nothing out of the ordinary, or so we thought. I was watching television with 3 of my 5 siblings around 9 in the evening when we decided to switch channels. Our television back then was a Sony Trinitron. Not the flat screen type, but the one with a huge box behind the screen. Lol. Since the remote control wasn't working, we had to use the button on the TV to change channels or control the volume. Being the kids that we were, we kept on switching channels and arguing what show to watch. Until the buttons gave up on us as well. They had sunken in. Afraid that our mom would find out and get mad at us, we decided to fix it ourselves. We unplugged the TV, fearful that we might get an electric shock while trying to fix the buttons. Then removed it from the stand, and placed it on the floor. The 4 of us were seated on the floor surrounding the huge lump of old technology. Just as we finished laughing at a certain joke one of us cracked up, I suddenly heard someone giggle. Ai-hee-hee-hee. It was the tiniest, highest-pitched, is this even a term? Voice I have ever heard. I thought I was just hearing things when my younger sister said May Nakatawa. Someone laughed with us. To which I answered Owen Gatnarinigko. Yes, I heard it. Our younger brother then said Iko Din. Me too. As for my other younger sister, I can't remember if she heard it too. We weren't really frightened by what happened. I don't know why. Maybe because we were too young back then, or maybe because we didn't feel anything negative about who or what laughed with us that night. What I am sure of, is that it didn't come from the television because it was unplugged. It wasn't from anyone in the house because we were the only ones awake that time. And it certainly wasn't from one of my siblings because the sound was right in the middle of our huddle. And it was, well, different. It was non-human. I have a lot of creepy stories growing up. And I'm hoping to have them shared soon.